Wonderful. Um, Next up, we have Jennie Lobato with Draw Change, and I am just loving everything that she's doing with this organization. And this is a real treat to hear from her. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jennie Lobato, and I am the founder and CEO of drawchange. And drawchange is a local to Atlanta arts nonprofit organization that empowers children from lower socioeconomic conditions through the use of art therapy-based programming. I founded drawchange in 2009, and we meet children ages 5 to 10 in that sweet spot in between art for art's sake and art therapy. It's not art therapy because art therapy is clinical, and it's a lot more than art for art's sake. I'm a fine artist myself, strongly believe in art for art's sake, and I quickly learned when I started drawchange that children living in homeless shelters or refugee centers, asylum-seeking centers, or just lower income single family households need a lot more than just art for art's sake. So that's where art therapy came in. I started partnering with art therapists, and all of our curriculum is written by art therapists and addresses 7 core competencies. And those are creativity, collaboration, empowerment, dream building, stress relief, and imagination. So everything that we do focuses around those 7 core competencies. I am really, really excited and honored to present you a few success stories. I have a ton of them, and I won't give you all of them. But one of them is about, we'll call her Michaela today. Michaela, let's take this off, it's distracting me. Michaela was living temporarily in a homeless shelter with her caretaker and her little sister. And one day, our focus for that day was collaboration. And the reason why we chose a project having to do with collaboration that day is because the children at the homeless shelters were just butting heads. They didn't want to be there, they didn't want to be there with each other, and it's just a natural thing that we deal with at homeless shelters. So that day's focus was about collaboration. Michaela got seated with another little girl that day, and the project was for them to talk to each other and figure out how the name of the project is My Art Can Help You. So they had to talk to each other about things that were stressing them out or on their mind, making them sad, something that was on their mind. So Michaela expressed to her, first of all, Michaela was very upset. She did not want to sit with this particular young lady next to her. And we just encouraged Michaela to just try to use art as a way to bridge a connection with your partner. Michaela started to talk to her partner about what was on her mind, what was stressing her out, making her sad. And Michaela mentioned that she was really sad because she had witnessed some horrific family violence, and it's what led them to the homeless shelter. Michaela's partner, let's call her Susie. Susie decided to draw for Michaela. She asked Michaela about her favorite colors and about what her favorite animal was. And Michaela mentioned that it's a butterfly and her favorite color is rainbow. Hands up to if your favorite color is rainbow. So Susie drew for Michaela a butterfly. And at the bottom, she asked for help with spelling it. These girls were about 6 and 7. She asked for help with the writing, and she said to Michaela, I'm making you this butterfly so you can fly to your grandmother, because she witnessed her grandmother being killed by someone. So you can fly to your grandmother in heaven whenever you're missing her. And that is the beauty of art. And after that, we had witnessed Michaela and Susie just always wanting to sit next to each other in future drawchange sessions. And through art, through getting together and simply drawing a butterfly and saying like one phrase, it made these two little girls realize that they can be friends with people that look different than them. They can be friends even though they're in a situation that they don't want to be in. So that's my first story. Another one is about Diego. This is at a community center. One thing I failed to mention is we have programs, the bulk of our programs are here in Atlanta, and we have programs ranging from Arizona to Ethiopia. We have branched out in our country and also around the world. So this is a story about our program on the Mexico-Arizona border. And Diego came into our program. These are people who just crossed the border and landed in this asylum-seeking center, and this center helps them get to where they need to get court dates, etc. Diego was terrified to come do art with us. He kept on yelling and screaming, peligro, peligro, which in Spanish is danger. He didn't trust people. He didn't trust adults. He didn't trust anyone. And through our coaching and just talking to him and meeting him where he was, before you know it, Diego was the life of the party in our session. We had a music component that day and percussion instruments, and he was the one that was entertaining everyone. One thing about our programs is that we have a very small ratio of children to adults. So if it's one-on-one, that's perfect. But we never have more than children to teacher 3 to 1. So one adult will never be talking to more than 3 children. And we do that because children in these situations, often the number one thing that they need is simply attention and being talked to and someone to be their friend and just smiling with them and talking to them, asking them how their day was. So that day in Tucson, we had the luxury of having 2 adults just sit with Diego until Diego got comfortable with us and drawing with him literally like at the doorway with crayons until Diego felt comfortable enough to come to spend our hour with drawchange. We start all of our programs with a breathing exercise where we're just centering on our breath, and our hands go up as we breathe in, our hands come down as we breathe out, and then that's always followed by an imagination session. And that happened to be where Diego finally was able to walk in with us. And the imagination session is a meditation of sorts where they are putting their head down on their table, closing their eyes. First and foremost, giving them a moment to just be, a moment to not worry about where they laid their head last night, where they're laying their head that evening. By the time we partner with all of these organizations, they have food and they have a roof over their head. And then after the imagination session, we follow our program with an art project. It's mostly visual art, but we have incorporated theater and music as well. And then we finalize our program with show and tell. And show and tell, which some of those photos are probably from show and tell, is a very important part of our program because, again, children in these situations, from my experience and also studies show, is that their basic emotional needs are not being met. So during show and tell, we praise their artwork, we have their peers praise their artwork, and we have them tell us about their entire project. A big part of art therapy is talking through what it was that you drew. Through the use of art, we empower the children, that's one of our competencies, to know that they can be anything they want to be in life. If you can draw it, you're that much closer to achieving it. We are working with children that most often have never been asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? I am fortunate enough that my parents were asking me that just about every single day. And a lot of these children are not, because their parents or their caretakers are worried about what I already mentioned, where they're going to lay their head that evening, or if they're safe in our country, or myriad of things. The last success story I want to mention is about Tyrese. Tyrese was a 8-year-old child in our art camp here in Atlanta, and he spent the entire summer with us. So he spent 4 weeks with us, and his first 2.5 weeks, he was nonverbal. He wasn't interested in any of the activities. He wasn't disruptive. He was just always quietly in the corner. He wasn't making friends. We were worried about him, and we kept on mentioning this to his parent, and she just said, that's Tyrese. Well, at week 2.5, something shifted. And that day's project was a self-esteem project, and they had to write certain I am statements about themselves that were empowering. And Tyrese always did his art in the corner when he would do it. And I peeked over, and words that Tyrese was writing about himself, he said, I am creative, I am successful, and I am kind. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. I asked him, I was like, what made you write those things? And he looked at me, he's just like, because I am those things. Like, you know, come on, Miss Jeannie. I was like, wow. So it's like you never know how much is sinking in when you have the opportunity to have that one-on-one connection with a child. I see this time and time again. Our programs are just an hour long, and in that hour, it's so common that I see a child entering the program angry, sad, or upset, and it's not even until our program ends that you're seeing something light up, because we're not just, like I mentioned, you know, drawing is amazing, but drawing with intention for a therapeutic purpose is on a whole other level. I can mention a lot more success stories that happen in just that 1 hour. Like all three of these that I just mentioned are ones that happen in just that 1 hour. But the more we get to see children, all of our constituents are transient. So sometimes we only see them for an hour session. Sometimes we'll see them for an entire school year. It's those that we get to see repeatedly that we see a major change in them, and it's all through the power of our art therapy-based programming and the funding that's come our way. So I do want to say thank you to several of you here in this room that have funded us throughout the years, and it's my goal to be in every single homeless shelter that at the very least is in our state of Georgia. Right now we do have a waiting list in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta, never mind, state of Georgia. We have a waiting list of our programs, and we're just really wanting to get to all of them. We are growing. We have grown exponentially in the last 2 years, and it's a very exciting place to be. And if we have time for questions, do we have time for questions? Okay. Well, I will be outside if anyone has any questions. But thank you again so much.